Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I made a video the other day of making my final trips, saying goodbye to the Oakland Coliseum in Oakland, California. It, of course, is the place that I grew up, loving baseball. I used to go there a lot in the early 90s before I moved to Atlanta. And my mom kind of bought my love of the Atlanta Braves with the tomahawks and t-shirts and things like that. And being in Atlanta for the first year when they won the World Series was a moment. I remember going to my first World Series parade. They told us all at school to make sure that we took the day off. They weren't going to take attendance, that they had worked so hard to finally achieve this. They wanted everybody to go. I remember standing on the streets as they drove down Peachtree and just looking at all the Braves waving on top of the fire trucks and just thinking to myself, I'm going to come to this every year for the rest of my life. The Braves were a really, really good team. I was really spoiled. The Braves seem to always be in contention. We've never really had any really bad down years. When I moved back to Northern California, I was already at a point in my life where I was I'm not really going to be one of those guys who just jumps, teams where it's just I'm a fan of this team, a fan of that team. The Braves were still on TBS at that time. They were easy to follow. So I just stuck with it. That's the reason why even when I moved back here, I didn't jump on the A's train. Where we're getting to is when I wanted to go watch baseball, I normally went to Raleigh Field, which is the AAA of the A's at the time, now of the Giants affiliate. They're going to play into the big part of this video. I used to go to the minor league games. The place that I work, they sponsored. They had the naming rights. Part of the naming rights deal was if you showed up to the stadium with your name tag and I believe a paycheck stub, they would just give you almost. I don't think I was ever turned down however many people I went with. I don't think I ever took a party bigger than 6. But I mean, if you just showed up and said you worked for Raley's and you could prove it, they just printed you the tickets and handed it to you and said, have a good night. I guess it was just their way of getting people in there. I feel really bad for the fans of Oakland. The team that the A's have put together the last couple of years just doesn't really make sense. I know that Billy Beane's not there anymore, and I apologize for saying that. He just passed away the other day. But I mean, they always found a way to find diamond in the rough prospects that just panned out, whether it was Moneyball or just picking the right guys, or maybe having the right people in their minor league system to push them through. What's going on right now with the White Sox really makes no sense. 2020, that was a young playoff team that really looked like they had a chance to win a World Series in the last couple of years. And then every single prospect on that team has just turned up and gone bust. Eloy Jimenez, I thought was going to be a guy who competed for the MVP, is he's in Baltimore now, and they traded him for a sack of balls. It just doesn't really make any sense. But for people that are paying attention to what is going on with this whole deal, I watched a video the other day from somebody who lives in New York, and they were giving their perspective on what is going on with this whole Oakland A's move in Las Vegas. Basically, the mayor of Las Vegas throwing his hands up, and he's like, hey, this doesn't really fit our budget. I think it's great that you bought the casino. I think it's great that you're going to demolish it, you're going to get the land ready, but the A's organization is just showing up to Las Vegas with their hands out, basically being hey, build us a stadium and we would love to play here. I understand that they put a lot of money down on the table, but it costs a lot of money to build a stadium, and it doesn't really seem like they're backing the truck up to pay for this thing. So the schedule came out for the Sacramento A's. I'm guessing that's what they're going to call them. I don't think they're still going to call them the Oakland Athletics. That still play that don't play in Oakland, that play in Sacramento now. I'll tell you the truth, I don't know what the plan is. If they're just not going to have a city name and just be the Athletics, if they're actually going to publicize that they are, playing in Sacramento. I don't know if they're just going to start calling themselves the Las Vegas Athletics. That's just one of the things that I don't even think is on the table, that is out there. As somebody who lives in Sacramento, they made the plan to play. I still call it Raleigh Field because that's the company that I work for. I think that like Blue Shield or some sort of like insurance doctor place. I think they sponsor the field now. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But I think the plan was that they would play there. I don't know if it's like a profit sharing. I don't know if they're just renting it. I know that they're also going to find a way for the AAA team to play at the same place at the same time that the A's are playing. They're trying this whole 7 on, 7 off kind of schedule where they're like here and there for longer periods of time, trying to make it easy. I know the Major League schedule is already like, bam, that's ours, that's what we're doing, you work around us. And that kind of makes a lot of sense, but they're borrowing a facility they should be at least taking care of. And it doesn't really even make sense because it used to be the AAA affiliate of the A's, but it's now the AAA affiliate of the Giants. It's been that way for, I would guess off the top of my head, at least 5 years now since the A's moved their team out. We were able to keep the River Cats name. I don't really know how that plays out, but I don't know. The whole thing is just, I'm sorry. I think where I was basically saying, like, for somebody who lives in Sacramento, this thing really isn't like a slam dunk thing. I don't know if they're like actually like paying to rent the fields, if it's like a profit sharing program. But the last story that I heard after Las Vegas came out and said they basically didn't want to like pay for the stadium, there is no funding, is that Sacramento was saying they were going to actually build seats to make their facility larger. The one thing I know about Sacramento is that they are going to show up and support anything. I know that, the fans of Sacramento got dragged through the mud through the whole Sacramento King deal. Basically, fans weren't attending the last, few seasons at Arco Arena because of the fact, I'll tell you the truth, I went to 2 different games that they told us this is the last Kings game in Sacramento. Either they were moving to Virginia Beach, they were moving to Anaheim, they were moving to Seattle. It just constantly seemed like the team was leaving. So I don't blame people for not showing up to support. Those teams weren't good. They weren't horrible. They were trying their best to compete through the draft, but they weren't really like signing free agents, making trades or anything like that. But the city of Sacramento is going to show up to support this A's team, no matter what is on the field. I mean, if they were just to take the team that they have right now and move them over, I guarantee that they will sell out the first year of baseball there. I guarantee it. Now, where it gets sticky is that, like, Sacramento was going to build these seats to fill in the right field line and then the outfield, so they wouldn't be the general admission lawn like you get like at a concert venue some places, especially like with country concerts and things like that. But I don't think Sacramento knew that they were paying to put those seats down. I think that they were under the impression that the A's were actually going to put these seats in, since they're the ones that are going to be making the money off of there. I know that in 3 years the plan is for them to leave, go to Las Vegas, and then the seats will still be there for the River Cats to sell. But I don't think that was really what was sold to them. So the whole thing is sticky all over. You know, Las Vegas is saying we would love to have you. We're not going to pay for this stadium. You know, Oakland would love to keep that team. They've done everything they could to try and get a stadium deal done for the A's. The A's have always just kind of like said this is not good enough, and just kept, you know, pawning it off onto somebody else. The A's said they wanted to move to Sacramento for 3 years. They still owe money for the whole building of Mount Davis out there in the outfield for the seats in the boxes that they never sell, they never use. That whole deal really doesn't make sense to me, but it was like a 50-50 deal with the Raiders to build that and pay for it, and the Raiders aren't even paying. They aren't even playing in that stadium anymore, and they're still paying for that construction that went up out there to get them, you know, better seats for they didn't even want to use anymore. But you know, there's people saying that Oakland is still trying to find a way to keep the team. They're still trying to find a way that they never go to Sacramento, they never go to Las Vegas. I think every day that we move on the baseball calendar, this situation is going to get muddier and muckier. And for the people that, you know, just love some good sports news, this is going to be something that people are going to be talking about for a while. I know that Vivek, who is the owner of the Sacramento Kings, he is the owner of the Sacramento River Cats. He's friends with Jeff Fisher. Maybe, you know, Fisher gets here to Sacramento. The Las Vegas deal just obviously isn't going to get done. I can see Vivek buying the A's off of him. I know that he's got a lot of money. He can make that deal come through. And then from there, maybe then Vivek tries to find a way to get another stadium deal done here in Sacramento. And they can keep the A's here. So I think there's a lot more to come for this story.